my God, I have to cook for myself. Oh my God, I have to go and do my laundry and iron my clothes and do everything yourself. So I'd say, yeah, that factor definitely comes in. So you just have to be resilient and kind of keep on working. And I'd say for me, being organized and was something that really helped me, because it's not only about academics. If I just do that, my university experience would mean nothing, because it's all about being academically really good as well as professionally. So I think that is where clubs come in. And so I was really involved throughout high school. And I was the school head girl, and I was super into debating, and I was just super into any initiative that went on in school, and just how I just kind of translated that into my application and how that helped me. So I dance. I actually have a degree in like classical Indian dancing, and so I just talked about how those aspects of my life interconnect with my academic interests, especially because because you just have such varying interests. It's very important. It was very important for me to show that I'm not just my grades, I'm not just my extracurriculars. It's just a combination of everything that makes me who I am.
So over to you, Saanvi. So first question, right? So why did you decide to study abroad and not in India? And how did this happen? When did this happen? I also remember vaguely I was also part of that conversation where Sir, Rajni, Sir, and myself we decided. But how did this happen in the family?
Sure. So I think it sort of for me was the kind of experience that I was looking for. I've always been academically inclined, but I have a lot of other interests, and that was probably something I highlighted on all my applications, and something that I was looking to get out of university, out of my university experience. And the other thing is that it's just the way that I can study my subjects with a lot of flexibility, because right now I'm doing an undergraduate business. I'm doing an undergraduate business course here. So basically, it's a Bachelor of Commerce, right? But I'm specializing in finance and economics with a focus in data science. So I think it's just that flexibility of subjects and the way that I get to learn here. And yeah, so I think that was one of the main reasons I sort of applied and started looking for something. I was super confused after grade 10. I mean, should I take science or should I take commerce? And I talked to Sir. I mean, he helped me clarify a lot of it, helped me see clearly what my options were in both fields. And I'd say that is where this interest came up in economics and maybe pursuing something in finance. So this was a great opportunity for me. And then just, I mean, the scholarship sealed the deal, of course. And that's just how things worked out, because I come from a family of engineers. So I mean, this was a very, I'd say, not a conventional choice for me, but yeah, I think it's just how it worked out. And it sort of was what I was looking for and how I wanted to explore different countries. I don't know where I'll end up, but I thought that this would be put me on a good platform to kind of start off and explore my interests.
Wow, that's amazing. And I also remember you got good scholarship in University of British Columbia as well. You got full scholarship in Bocconi as well. Am I right?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. Achha, why Canada? And why specifically Canada? Why not? I mean, you did not apply to US, you did not apply to UK. Why Canada only?
So yeah, so I did apply to some places in Europe and Singapore and Canada. I think it comes down to the fact, like I said, what you're looking for, because I know that universities in Europe tend to be more academically inclined. Not that U of T is less, just that it's a different kind of experience. That is what, but I've not firsthand experienced those universities. So whatever I'm saying is based on what I have read of the internet and discovered while talking to people like Sir. And the other thing is, yeah, because I did apply to other countries, but the fact comes down to once you have all the options and just weighing the pros and cons. For me, it was like in Europe, something like finance and economics would only take 3 years. Maybe that would not be universally acceptable if I wanted to go in for higher education. So that was obviously a factor. And then it comes down to the fact that in Canada, it's easier, like the visa processes are much easier than in the US. I just felt like it was a safer country, and just the kind of lifestyle here was sort of friendly for me as an international student.
You talked about lifestyle. So people who really want to know about something, life at University of Toronto, life in Canada. So how is it like, people who enjoy it? We have parties there. it's all study. I mean, University of Toronto, we've been hearing that it's really tough to survive. So what's your take?
Um, it's definitely competitive because you're not only competing against other international students who've been really awesome at their schools, but domestic students who've been here all their lives. They don't have that adjustment period that we do. So obviously you kind of have to compensate for it, work probably extra just to kind of overcome that, because some of them live at home. They don't have that experience of oh my god, I have to cook for myself, oh my god, I have to go and do my laundry and iron my clothes and do everything yourself. So I'd say, yeah, that factor definitely comes in. So you just have to be resilient and kind of keep on working. And I'd say for me, being organized and was something that really helped me, because it's not only about academics. If I just do that, my university experience would mean nothing, because it's all about being academically really good as well as professionally. So I think that is where clubs come in, and these different clubs that I'm doing currently, they help you find a sense of community as well as take up side projects that help you meet people and go out, be out there and network and that sort of a thing. And yeah, I'd say just and time for socializing. I mean, I think you have to carve that out. U of T is not a party school. It's very much a study school. So I think obviously if that's
So,
something that's
so,
important to you,
so
you will carve
how
out
are
time for it.
how are your weekends? So what do you do
How
on
are
your
my
weekends?
weekends?
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, I'd say that kind of depends on where I am in the school year. In the beginning, they're a little bit more chill and lighter. I don't have as much work. If I'd say, and I think my definition of what work constitutes has changed a lot, because at U of T, we don't have, because I remember in school, it's like we have one exam, you work towards it, and that's done. But over here, because your final grade is made up of so many assignments, there's something that you're doing constantly. And what a typical weekend would look like if you're someone who likes to go out would, I'd say, Friday nights are the best time to go out, because you have the weekend after that. And that is the time when most people go out. So you'd see a lot of your friends going out and just a lot of noise and just parties going on Friday nights. I think that would be the best time, and just keep Saturday, Sunday to relax, or maybe just study according to my midterm schedule.
So one thing is, can you earn a part-time job there to support yourself? I mean, do you really get time at University of Toronto?
Um, sure. So, like I said, it really depends on how you organize your time and what you prioritize. For me, it's like this is what I'm sort of doing right now, because I work as a research assistant and I'm doing a course and I'm doing a course as well. During the term, on average, if you don't have transfer credits like I didn't, so you'd have to do 5 courses each semester to graduate on time for a total of 20 credits. With that, I'd say, because I really want to focus on my grades and make sure that they're up there, getting supporting a part-time job for me personally would be difficult, but I have seen people doing it. So it's definitely possible, and there are a lot of opportunities to do that.
Great, great, great. So definitely for student point of view, they would want to know, what are those factors which actually help you to get this huge, huge scholarship?
Oh, well, I don't know for certain, obviously, what helped me, but I'd say I was really involved throughout high school. And I was the school head girl, and I was super into debating, and I was just super into any initiative that went on in school, and just how I just kind of translated that into my application and how that helped me. So I dance, I actually have a degree in like classical Indian dancing. And so I just talked about how those aspects of my life interconnect with my academic interests, especially because because you just have such varying interests. So it's very important, it was very important for me to show that I'm not just my grades, I'm not just my extracurriculars, it's just a combination of everything that makes me who I am. And the fact that you have a versatile and well-rounded personality is something that you're looking for. And I just know that they look for people who do the work. So just show that you're, so I just tried to show that I was really driven and that I really cared about what I was doing at any point of time. So I think, yeah, that was
So
something
another
I
thing,
focused on.
more specifically when we talk about Canada, which people who want to know that, so we often hear that it's too cold in Canada, and to stay. I mean, is it so?
Um, well, it is cold, right? The winters are cold. You have negative temperatures. In Toronto, I'd say you'd experience, peak winters of about -20 degrees centigrade. But you'll be like, I'll be like, I was fine. I think everyone will be fine, because you just have to have the right gear. I mean, you get jackets for -40 degrees, so that's fine. And indoors is all heated, so you'll just be there in your half sleeves. So, it's fine. I mean, I don't think that should be a deciding factor for anyone deciding where to study.
Which place is better? I mean, I know that you've traveled to Alberta as well. Sahil, your brother is studying in Alberta. So which is a better place? Alberta, Toronto, how do you compare those?
Alberta is further up north, actually. So it's much colder there. I have gone out and just roamed around in -40, 35 to 40 degrees centigrade. So yeah, so weather-wise, I'd say Toronto is better if the cold is what you're worried about.
So what is the basic living expense in case we ask you this question? People would want to know. I keep hearing this question.
Sure. So I'd say it should be somewhere around 1,800 to 2,000 Canadian dollars per month, including rent, transit, and food and groceries, and you go out sometimes, stuff like that. For me, this was a little bit different because of what was covered and what wasn't. And even now, it just looks a little bit different. But I'd say on average, that should be the ballpark.
Right. So now, coming on to your goals, where do you see yourself 15 years from now? Right, passing out from
15
University
years.
of Toronto. What are your long-term goals? I mean, I believe in law of attraction. One should have goals. So,
sure. So 15 years is a long time, but I can definitely say that I'm not 100% sure about what I want to do right now. I know that from the clubs that I joined, I'm really interested in consulting. So maybe that would be a career path that I want to pursue and just see where that takes me, because we get to do a lot of projects with real clients through these clubs. I'm also sort of interested in investment banking, being a finance course. A lot of people are just exploring that. So I'm kind of exploring and now I get to work as a research assistant. So probably research in economics is something that I'm also quite excited to pursue if I get a chance. So I'll just see how that works out if I want to go in for my master's or just get a job straight out of graduation. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I have all the options to explore and decide.
okay, so you've told us something about the campus. We would also like to know something about the city.
Oh, sure. So let me think. Something interesting about the city. Well, the campus and the city are very intertwined because we don't have a set campus. It's not like we have a boundary wall and here's where the campus starts. It's so scattered. Like the buildings where I have my classes are super scattered. It's just all over Toronto. It's like all over downtown Toronto. So I think that's something interesting because you'll have a university building right here, and just right next to it, you have a big shopping mall. So have fun before and after classes. But yeah, and I think for Toronto, it's like because it's a metropolitan city, it's like a lot of it is newly constructed, but you do see those old buildings or something that just endured from the 80s or 90s scene. I think that's something very interesting.
So, what all did you learn in this 1 year? I mean, you can say as a person, as a student. These are some very important learnings which I've had. You'd like to share with us?
Sure. So obviously, academically, there were like subjects that I learned. So obviously, it's something that I learned there. I'll not talk about that. That's not very interesting. But I'd say in terms of there are a lot of soft skills to gain, and that you can gain as you go through university without even putting any conscious effort into it, just as you study for stuff and just as you present your presentations and just how that goes about. For me, I think it was just really kind of being organized and learning how to multitask. I mean, now I have a Google Calendar for everything. I mean, you have to plan it down to the hour because your classes, I mean, they're scattered around the entire day, around the entire campus. So you have to be very careful with how you schedule things and what's due when. So I think that was one thing that I just learned tremendous organizational skills and how to manage a lot of stuff at the same time, because the reality is that you'll have a midterm, you'll have an assignment due today, tomorrow, the day after, 5 assignments due on the day of the midterm. So I think just having the ability to efficiently multitask is something that I gained here.
And what is the class size at University of Toronto?
Um,
Yeah.
I think that would vary a lot according to programs. In my program, I've had very different class sizes. So I've sat in classes with around 200 to 300 students. I've sat in something like 50 to 60 students. And one of my classes was a seminar class. So that was around 25 to 30 students. So I think that just varies tremendously with who the course is open for, because since I'm in Rotman Commerce, we have some special courses, which are the RSM courses, the Rotman School of Management courses, which are open only for Rotman students. So those obviously tend to have a little bit smaller class sizes, but something like economics, which a lot of people are doing, would obviously have a very big class size.
So another question we have is like, can you change your course if you don't like you while being at the campus? In case you don't like your course, is it possible to change your course?
Yeah, definitely. I think that flexibility is amazing. You can combine different programs that you want, because we have something called academic advisors. Just be in constant conversation with them, and they'd help you figure out how you can change in the most efficient way, which credits you can use for which degree requirements. You can actually change it at any time. Because a lot of people don't come into Rotman straight out of high school, they join in their second year. So that is something you can do. Or even within my like degree, I have three options. I have three different specializations. I can switch between them super easily. It's just very convenient to do so. And just shifting an entire program is really possible too. And people do all sorts of combinations. I
I
mean,
still
I've
remember.
actually
I
seen,
still remember you. You interviewed me once for your you're doing a course in journalism.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was actually the seminar class,
that's good. Right.
which had a fair number of students. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, so
Sorry, I interrupted you, sir. I think
no,
you were
no,
about to
no,
say
no,
something.
no, no, perfectly all right. So I am through with all my questions, most of the questions. So let's spend 10 minutes, in case my audience wanted to ask some specific questions to Saanvi. So, please, type your questions in the chat box. Aditi, Aman, Ananya, Ashish, Aisha, Lukansha, Namrata, Nitin, Ryan, Priya, all of you, please, Sanjali, Saanvi, Sheen, Simran, Skylar, Tanzil, Vishu, please ask questions. Okay.
And I just wanted to add, because I know sometimes people are comprehensive about the class size because they're like, it's such a big class size. How do you learn? I think it does not matter. Even if you're sitting in a class of 20 or in a class of 200, it's about what you absorb from the lecture. And if you're really worried about that, go early, grab a seat in the front 2 rows, amen, and just try to, that's what I do. I try to talk to the professor before and after, get any doubts clarified. We have a lot of teaching assistants. So they also know their stuff very well. I mean, we can go to them at any time, email them. So I don't think that has ever been a problem. So if anyone was comprehensive about that.
So we have a question from
Sorry, yeah.
Priyanshi. So she says, which stream you opted for in class 11?
Which stream? Oh yeah, so I was in the commerce stream. I did the ISC. And yeah, so my subjects were just the basics, economics, maths, commerce, accounts, and English.
IC board, Brighton School. So Ananya is asking this question. Ananya is from St. Joseph's Academy. How easy or difficult is to get scholarship in Canada?
Oh, well, I think that depends on which scholarship you're looking for. For me, I know this one is quite competitive. This is awarded to about 35 to 37 students every year. And this year, about 1,600 students applied for it. So, and especially for something like the Lester B. Pearson Scholarship, it gets a lot more competitive because the school nominates one student and the school wants to maximize its chances. So they'll obviously nominate someone who they think has a chance or who's been doing well in school. Obviously, that's not to say that there aren't any other scholarships that you can apply for independently. For U of T, before I got the Lester B. Pearson scholarship, I also had an entrance scholarship for about $100,000. So these are something that is completely independent of your school and just that. So yeah, so that kind of a lot more students get that than this.
It's really competitive. I mean, you really need to score really well in your class 9, 10, 11, and your predicted grades, okay, should be really good, right?